now we're at the time where the Hamashiach is getting ready to come.
And hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I am the Lord.
Last words, brother.
Shalom, ma.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Muted.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Yasharel.
All
right. Pray everybody is having a blessed Shabbat.
That's right. All praises to the Most High.
All praises. Glory to the Most High. All right. The title of this discussion is Coming Together Then versus Coming Together Now. So basically, I know that you kind of have a hint of what we're going to be dealing with. All right. And we're going to be dealing with some very sensitive topics here. So, you may get a little angry, but hey, just take it with a grain of salt because, we have to show you what's going on with our people and why we are in this condition today. So, but before we do that, we're going to go ahead and, brother, if you got Jubilees ready, we're going to go ahead
give me
and door.
Just a second.
No problem. While he's bringing that, while he's bringing that up, y'all. And again, this is kind of based off what, how people keep saying that, oh, we're going to, black folks are coming together. Black folks going to come together because of this whole, people got this rumor that this resegregation law is coming back. And now you have all these responders talking about, oh, we're going to come together. So we want to show you, man, how, it was easy for our people to come together back then versus now, because for one, back then you had a 2-parent home, right? You had, but in our community, the marriage rate from all the way up into the the mid 60s. Do y'all know what percentage of marriage rate we had? It was like a 98% marriage rate. All right. Then you got to understand the moral values were much higher as well too. They stood for something, right? They didn't just like, if you got in trouble somewhere by a neighbor and they whooped you, well, guess what? You was getting another one when you got home. All right, that's the kind of neighborhood I grew up in. That's what I'm used to. But now you fast forward today, we don't. It's totally the opposite. And you got to understand the psychological warfare that the enemy has done. But we didn't make things better because we accepted what they did. We didn't challenge it. We went along with it. So therefore, we can't completely blame the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at the gangster rap today. Nobody couldn't force us to write those lyrics. You know what I'm saying? They didn't put a gun to our head and say, "Hey, I want you to rap about screwing your woman's girl or killing your brother." All this stuff. We did that. So hey, now we're gonna weep the whirlwind from it, and we're weeping like we've never seen before. I don't even think our people realize the gravity of the situation that we're in. All right, and as far as our people coming together, you got to ask yourself the question: coming together with what? All right. Anytime I hear our people say, "Oh man, this whole thing or this what's going on in the Trump administration is going to help black folks come together." Come together with what? What do you have that's going to make a difference? That's going to help your community. We'll discuss that a little more here. So, his brother got this up already.
That's right. And without further ado, we're going to go to our regular scriptures. We got in a rotation. Today we're doing Jubilees chapter 1, verses 7 through 15, I believe it is. All right.
Let's get it.
I guess, you go ahead and start it out.
All righty. Verse 7, it says, "And do thou write for thyself all these words which I declare unto thee, this day, for I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land of which I swear to their fathers, to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, saying, Unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey. And the Most High always kept his word. It's just unfortunate that as a people, we have to be so difficult to work with. Verse 8, and they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange gods. You know, it's interesting. It says they will eat and be satisfied. Our people got too comfortable. Our people got too complacent to the point where they felt like, oh, I'm the chosen one. I can just do anything I want to do. And they will turn to strange gods, to gods which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation. And this witness shall be heard for a witness against them, for they will forget all my commandments. Fast forward today, look, our people don't know who they are. We don't know our traditions. We don't know what our birthright even was.
Facts.
Even all that I command them, and they will walk after the Gentiles, and after their uncleanness, and after their shame, and will serve their gods. And these will prove unto them an offense, and a tribulation, and an affliction, and a snare. And it says in verse 9, and many will perish, and they will be taken captive, and will fall into the hands of the enemy, which we are now constantly, scattered to the four corners, because they have forsaken my ordinances and my commandments and the festivals of my covenant and my Shabbats and my holy place, which I have hallowed for myself in the midst, and my tabernacle and my sanctuary, which I have hallowed for myself in the midst of the land, that I should set my name upon it, and that it should dwell there. All right. And see, and this is why, Yasharel, I mean, it was bound to happen. And everything that we're seeing right now has to be played out. All right. In order for us to see the destruction of our own wickedness. All right. Let me get verse 10, or you starting at 11?
I'll start at verse 10. Let's go.
Okay.
All right, let's go. I think it is, right? It don't matter. All right, verse 10. And we're in the first chapter of Jubilees, and it says, and they will make to themselves high places and groves and graven images, right? And they will worship each his own graven image, as to go astray, as to sacrifice their children to demons and to all works of the error of their hearts. And I will send them witnesses unto them, that I may witness against them. But they will not hear, and will slay the witnesses also, and will persecute those who seek the law, and they will abrogate and change everything as so to work evil before my eyes. Right? If you look at our people today, right, anyone that tries to, teach you to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, not the people that are joining here on the live, but the world, right? They'll try to come against you, tell you that, oh, I can do what I want, and it's just a time of doing whatever you want, right? And see, the Most High, just like I saw, one of the brothers in the comment section made a comment, says the Most High does not lie. And this thing, we see it coming true today, right? We're working every evil work before the eyes of the Lord. Verse 12, and I will hide my face from them, and I will deliver them into the hands of the Gentiles for captivity, right? Another truth, because here we are. And for a prey and for a devouring, right? It says for a prey and for a devouring. It does not say that we're going to take lead and start ruling up the heathen and doing it. It just doesn't say that, right? It says for captivity, for a prey and for devouring, and I will remove them from the midst of the land, right? Because we're no longer in Israel, and I will scatter them amongst the Gentiles. You can just look at the USA teams or any of these other Olympic teams, right? They always got Israel somewhere on there, right? They're gonna be black and you're in Russia, yeah. And you run it on a Russian team. It's crazy. All right, so it says, and they will forget all my law and all my commandments and all my judgments, and go astray as to new moons, right? The Sabbaths, the festivals, jubilees, and ordinances. All right. And after this, they will turn to me from amongst the Gentiles with all their heart and with all their soul and with all their strength, And I will gather them from amongst the Gentiles, and they will seek me, so that I may be found of them when they seek me with all their heart and with all their soul. So it is going to come a time when our people are going to finally get it. Well, some of our people, because we know it's going to be a wave compared to a drop. So it's going to be saved. But, those that the remnant that remain, right, they're going to turn to the Lord, turn to the Most High with all their soul. They realize that, for us to get out of this situation, we have to stop marching in the streets. We have to stop, doing the conventional things that we think that's going to stand up against these heathen that surround us round about. Right? We got to turn back to the laws, statutes, and commandments. Turn back to the old way. All right.
And the thing that's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And the thing that's hurting us the most is idolatry. All right. And there's nothing that's more evident in this day and age than idolatry of our people. And we are in it, and we do it the most.
That's right.
And we see that, and we see that throughout our people. So Brother Aton said something. He read something very, very profound. For those who are crying out. All right, it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be a very small number, and I truly believe that as time goes on, as the years go on, we're going to continue to diminish. All right, so the last generation that's alive right now is pretty much the baby boomers, right? And so now that the baby boomers are kind of phasing out, and the Generation X is kind of up in age, now you have Gen Y, Gen Z on down. It's like it's getting worse and it's worse and it's worse. All right.
Verse 15. I'm not done reading it yet.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, God.
Oh,
you could. I
thought you were done.
No, I'm about to drop a whole lesson on that verse. I was like, okay, let's go there. All right. Verse 15, it says, "And I will disclose to them abounding peace with righteousness." Right. "And I will remove them the plant of uprightness, and with all my heart and with all my soul, they shall be for a blessing and not for a curse. Right. And they shall be the head and not the tail. And I will build my sanctuary in their midst, and I will dwell with them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people in truth and righteousness." Right. So we have something glorious to look forward to in the future days to come. Right. Every day that passed, every revolution of the sun around this earth, right, means another day closer to the coming of Hamashiach and the delivery of our people. Right. Deliverance and salvation of our people. Go ahead, take it away, brother.
All right. Yeah, my bad, man. I thought really that.
Nah.
Let me bring in this one in a second. Yeah.
You're good, man.
So I want to bring up something that y'all very familiar with, Deuteronomy 28, and you all know about the blessings, right? Y'all know about the blessings and the curses. Now those blessings will still apply to a lot of our people. So for those of you who are keeping and obeying the Most High with all and keeping His laws with all your heart, mind, and soul, you're gonna benefit from the blessings, even though we are a cursed people. As a whole, you're gonna still feel the aftershocks of it. But the Most High keeps His promise, and He says that if you keep His laws, commandments, and statutes, He will give you peace within the midst of your enemies. All right, and that is a fact. I can only speak for myself on that one. So just so that you're listening, I don't want to. We want to make sure that you stay encouraged, and especially those of you who are keeping the laws and commandments with all your heart, mind, and soul. Continue to be that light. Continue to be standing 10 toes down. Continue to be that horn for your people, because that those blessings still stand. All right, to this day. It's just as a whole, the Most High has to bring us through the fire, and He has to shift us like wheat. All right. It says 28 and 28. It says, "Yahweh shall smite you with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart, and ye shall grope at noonday as the blind gropes in darkness, and you shall not prosper in your ways, and you shall be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save you." Now, verse 29 is the part that I really wanted to focus on, because when you really think about it, it says that, and you shall be only oppressed and spoiled even more, and no man shall save you. So in the last, I would say, 5 decades, what have we seen? We've seen leaders come and go, right? We've seen the rise of these so-called Israel leaders: Malcolm X, Martin Luther, uh, uh, Chairman Fred, uh, Stokely, all those just leaders in the past that you can think about that just rose and then they just went away. Why? Because the Most High keeps His promise. He says that no man will save you. All right. But the one thing we had back in those days is, we had two-parent homes. We had values. In our community, it was common that the doctor was in your community. The community doctor was Israel. The community nurse was Israel. The school teachers, the professors, they were all Israel. All right. So what happened? What caused us to be broken up like that? At what point did we start to see separation from our moral values? At what point did we start to see the decrease in the marriage rates? All right. Now you got to understand our people. We always follow our enemies, unfortunately. And so, white women wanted their independence because they wanted to be seen. They wanted to have a voice. All right. Because there was a time where, hey, these women, they had to shut up. They couldn't just speak up like they wanted to. And so, they started this whole protest, this movement and everything. And it wasn't until like maybe a decade later that our women started to follow that same routine. But every time that we start following that routine, it never ends up good for us because it leads to our demise.
Mm.
It leads to our destruction. So without having to go, spend hours going into, the time frame of the degradation. And if you got anything, man, just jump right in, man.
Okay,
You
come on.
know,
Right.
when you look at the time frame, how we went from a two-parent home to um, over 75% of the black community being raised by single mothers. Like, dang, that's something that didn't happen overnight. That took some planning. That took some strategizing. I mean, I'm serious, some serious strategy to really be able to sit down and just plot. Okay, let's see how we going to break up the Israelite family. You know, let's do some things. So you have a sequence of things that they did that started to lead to our demise. Again, this was you talking about a span of 7 decades, y'all, of this. And I remember a time where I remember even my grandmother, you know, how they were. My granddad and my grandmother taught all her the ladies, the girls, how to cook, and it was like they were. It's like she was preparing them for marriage, to be with a man, for the rest of their lives when they were ready. But how can we do that now? When the nuclear family is damn nearly non-existent. Now, don't get me wrong. You still have your nuclear families out there. All right, you can go to any state and you'll find a nuclear Israelite family, but they're so rare, y'all. They're dropping. The numbers are dropping. All
Man.
right. And so coming together then, when you had a two-parent home, when you had moral values, when you had something to stand for, it was in times were just different. But now you got people talking about, oh man, because of the thing that's happening in the Trump administration, we're gonna come together as a people, man, we're gonna do this. Everybody that I've heard say they're gonna come together because of this administration, black folks, they never explain what they're gonna come together with. What coming together with what? Let me show you something right quick. I'm gonna show y'all a graph. All right. So this is a graph, and you can look this up. I looked this up in 4 different sources. All right. It says total household wealth grew in 2020, but white households still hold the vast majority. All right. So you see right here, it's color coded. You have the light blue, which is us, which is Israel, Then you got the Hispanics, all right, which is an orange, and then the yellow is others, probably Asians and the different other groups, and then of course the dark blue is the white folks. All right. So you look at our graph now. I don't know if y'all can see that. Can you see that clearly on the screen up?
Uh,
Okay. You look at us, man, like we're way like you can barely see us. Now you look at the wealth and substantial to our wealth as a people, what we collect, all right? Because for one, our money, there's nowhere for our money to bounce around in. And what you call the so black communities is really not a black community. It's just a mixture of, you got Israel, and then you got poor whites, what they refer as trailer trash white people. Then you got maybe a few Asians up in there, but they all, lower class wages and everything. So they just kind of bunch us in there with everybody else because, they still got the liquor stores in there. They still got all the degenerate stores that are not really no good, So I mean, you really can't call you a neighborhood. So when you spend money there, it ain't really going nowhere. So I just wanted to show you this graph that's kind of just so you can see the unprecedented amount of the money that our enemies have compared to us. It's an avalanche. So when we talk
that's
about
right.
coming together, coming together with what? When we don't even have our own. Now you may have, you know, um, individual families that might have maybe some property or something like that, but that's just kind of on their own terms. We don't have a per se an all Israelite community where we're producing our own stocks, we're producing our own resources. Um, we have cattle. None of that. You don't see that kind of stuff.
Man.
I mean, it's crazy. What you got out?
Well, I got a scripture real quick I want to do. I want to
Bring it
pull up
out.
that actually, something strong that Hamashiach said, right? Oh, yeah, I
Bring it
forgot you
out.
got out. Hold on, you got to
Oh
remove
yeah.
this. Oh, yeah, Salakia. Hold up. Yeah, I ain't gonna like it. All right. Matthew chapter 12, right? And 30. It says, "He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad." Now, that is a strong, strong statement from the Hamashiach, all right? Because that's what we got going on right now. And Brother Daniel had literally just showed on the graph on how we are being spread apart as a people, right? Sure, now, back in the day, it was easier for our people to come together because, hold on, let me show this graph, as a matter of fact, all right?
This one.
No, I got another one, right?
Okay.
It's like it. Right, see, now we can see already, right? Now, this is a blackdemographics.com, right? So let me go back. Let me go down and I'm gonna find, the early years, right? So boom, right? Black women more likely to be married more than white women. So we had during these years right here down to 1890, right, all the way up to around 1970, 1980, when they had begun to pass that law, saying that the father had to be out of the home dealing with welfare, right? As we see here on the chart right now, we were strong together as a people, right? We were strong in the so we were strong as a people. So just like we just read in the scriptures, it says in Matthew chapter 12, verse 30, it says, "He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad." Now, our people today, they're not trying to gather together, right? They're trying to gather, they're trying to do their own thing separately. And that's what's just wrong with our people, right? And everybody's against each other. Like, man, we're not trying to come together with two-parent homes or, doing any of these things right here. And this is why it's so easy for these heathens to come out into our community and fleece us for what little we have, right? Extort us for everything that we have, and then work the crap out of us and do whatever they want to, and then not give you whatever you think that is equal, because we are not together as a people. How can we be respected?
It's interesting you say that, man, because if you look, how can we come together? And not only without the two-parent home, but okay, so the baby boomers, they had Generation X, Generation X has Generation Y, and then you got Gen Z, right? Now you look at a lot of some of the Generation X that's kind of started that whole being raised by women, and then you look at Gen Y and then Gen Z, it's totally cracked up. So what happens when you have a household full of women raising boys, young boys? How do you think those boys grow up? All right, they're gonna have women tendencies. They're gonna appear to be gay most of the times, and they're gonna have that. They're gonna be emasculated. Emasculated is to have all your manhood stripped from you, pretty much.
Man,
And
hey, I got
yeah,
an example of that.
yeah,
Hold
and
on.
this is what you're dealing with right now. This is what we're dealing with right now as a people. So we talking about coming together. Like, how are you going to come together under all that?
All right.
Yeah,
So
go ahead, bring it up, man.
like I want y'all thoughts on this, right? And I want y'all thoughts on this, right?
You're the wrestler. All off, please.
My mom doesn't even know that we're shaving it all off, coach. Can I call her?
His hair is really that big of a deal.
You really need to reconsider that.
In all due respect, mind your own business, please.
You're disrespecting him.
I could tie it up.
You don't have to listen to him, man. You can do whatever you want.
And you should be able to call your mother.
She sees my number. She's not going to answer.
Yes.
Ma'am, please mind your business.
I am. He's my business. As of now.
Call your mom. Whatever she says, that's what it is.
Do you think my hair is okay?
Your hair is beautiful. Mother needs to make the decision. Just put the number and I'll speak to her.
Okay.
Since he wants to bully you in front of everybody.
His mother did put...
Well, I'm going to speak to her.
Cut it. Cut it now.
Don't cut it yet. I'm speaking to his mother. She makes the decision. He's bullying him to cut his hair and saying he's not going to be on the team. This young man looks very good. Right.
You're the wrestler.
All right,
She
bro.
makes the decisions. Dang, you can tell that's a single household.
All right. Hey, let me get your responses in the comment section. Like, tell me what y'all think about that right there. Because that right there is a cold example of what Brother Daniel was just now saying. All right.
Hey, that woman said she makes the decisions.
Man,
She said that with some bass in her voice too, boy.
that is ridiculous.
Mm.
Yeah, let me get your comments.
Yeah, I would hear what y'all think. Dang.
Man, let me pull up a scripture on that real quick. You know what I'm saying? That is, man, it's lucky. I remember now. Huh. I don't think it's First Corinthians.
Which one you looking for?
Something about the hair. I can't remember. It's over here somewhere. I think it's like 15 or something.
Oh, talking about the man.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, come on. Here it is right here. Boom.
Your favorite one? There you go.
Well, all right, boom. All right. So, this is just right, Israel Khan, right? Now, as we see, right, women are running the show. Now, that was a wrestling coach. Of course, a wrestling coach is going to know that wrestling with long hair, that's not a good idea, right? That's dangerous, as a matter of fact, all right? You can get somebody who can grab your hair, do all kind of crazy stuff, even though it's a legal move, but, these dudes, they'll try that, right? Why is that woman butting in man's business, number one? You see what's going on? This is not even a situation of our people, right? Like, man, look at the women, out of control. How are we going to come together when we're apart? Man, let that man be a man. I'm going to call his mother to make decisions. Now, I know good and well, that would have happened when someone would have called my dad. My dad would have been like, hey, man, cut that hair off. You know what I mean? That, he's doing something physical, something that he shouldn't have long hair in the first place to be doing with. All right, but because you see he was raised up by a woman, what are they doing? They're not referring to the dad's nowhere in the picture, and that's the sad part. Notice that. No, there is no father there. What the scriptures say? He that against me is not with me, right? Or he that is not with me is against me. Man, our people are not together. It says in verse 14, right, and 15, it says, doth even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? Look how ignorant these sisters are, right? Don't even understand the scriptures, right? Now, we're not talking about, like the Levites when you had 7 locks, right? But we're not talking about like long float stuff like that. We're not doing that. It says, but if a woman have long hair, right, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering. Like, we got to return back to the old way. We got women running the home. You're trying to shake your hair out in the mirror in the morning time. Hi. Oh, look at the flowy locks. Yeah, look at it. That's what you're doing? And we're in captivity? Come on, man.
But see, that's the thing, and it goes back to how the child is raised. But if that father is not there and in the present, I mean that's a very difficult thing. And I just saw somebody in a comment, they made a very good point. You know what I mean? No matter what, no matter how hard a woman tries to raise a boy, they can't do it. You cannot teach a woman cannot teach her son how to be a man. It's impossible because you can't. It can't be done by a female. Only a male can do that. All right. There's only certain things that as a woman, as a mother, you can teach your child. But when it comes to being a man, when it comes to being responsible, that is something that only the man can do. And hey, can you remove your thing right quick? I want to put something up here right quick.
Come on, put it up there. Oh yeah, I got
yeah. I just want to just read this before you show that clip. All right. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will never depart from it. All right. Now we know for certain that every Israelite, pretty much had a 2-parent home, unless the mother was widowed. But even with that, they would still had the father figure because the Levites stepped in. All right. So it wasn't like the widow was alone, all right, in raising their child. They were still raised by men. All right. These days, they don't even allow that. They don't even want another man being involved with raising their kids or trying to give them advice.
Facts.
Because they want to be in charge. They want to be able to make the decisions. And I've never in my life didn't think we were being a time where a lot of women feel like that they can just do everything by themselves. I look at it as ludicrous. It's ludicrous because we're the only race of people that feel that way, or I should say, the only race of women that I've seen say that. I've never seen other races of women say that. They know they need their man. They know that they need a father figure in the home. I guess they're the only ones that feel like they don't need the father figure in the home. All right, let me check this out.
So let me play this clip right quick because this is just a pure example of the strength of our people, right? I want y'all to picture, because it says that it's a statistical fact that black men are the most interactive with their children, even though they try to paint us as being deadbeats to most of us, right? Dealing with the situation that we have, right? Mm-hmm. Now, back in those other days, man, it was easy for us to come together because, like Brother Daniel was bringing out earlier, we had a tight family unit. We had a secure, 2-parent household, right? With mother and father there, sharing the responsibilities of raising the children, right? To be successful, right? So, I want y'all just to keep this in mind right here as I play this, right? Because this is just like a picture of how, it's supposed to be on the brothers, especially you brothers, right? We're supposed to hold the community together, right? Every single one of us, right? All our brothers, right? We have the power to hold it down because the Most High made us greater than all other nations, especially when we keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Every one of us need to have that kind of fortitude within our mind frame in order to push our community forward.
That's powerful, man. And when you look at our brothers back, like I'm gonna use the Black Panthers as an example. All right, in the community, a lot of people truly know what they were doing. A lot of people think that they were just, against whites, but they were really anti-government. All right, they didn't want the government coming in raising the kids, but they had one of the best food programs for children. I don't know if you all knew that or not, but the Black Panthers, the Crowns, and they were all led by men. All right. So they had, and they were, I could truly say that they were probably the only group of people that I've ever known that were actually putting their mouth where their money is. They were actually feeding the community. They had private schools for Israelite children. All right. They knew the importance of a 2-parent home. And then, like, even back in those days, you still had single mothers, but a lot of the Black Panthers stepped in and they mentored those children. All right, they disciplined them. All right, and the women gave permission for their children to be disciplined. Now these days, you can't do that. You'd be going to jail. And this is how it was back then, where you had a community of brothers. Like Brother Aton was showing that video, how the men held the community together. I mean, that's a prime example. If you study what the Black Panthers did, they did a lot to hold the community together. It's unfortunate what happened to them, because it's always our own people that are used to destroy our people. Unfortunately,
Also,
because go ahead.
Just a quick point. Even though the Black Panthers was a group that we saw that was starting to come up on the rise, they got shut down. You got to remember, nothing is ever going to succeed if it's not under the banner of the law, statutes, and commandments.
Yep.
Right. Of course, it'll have like a little ember of a flame in the beginning to start up. But I promise you, man, if we don't come together, like it says in the scriptures, under the laws, statutes, and commandments, right, we're never going to make it.
Yeah. But the point I wanted to make is just the fact that how even back then they were keeping the community together because of the men leading. As far as keeping the laws, commandments, and statutes, that's always going to be a challenge to our people, and that's going to only be a small remnant. It took me a while. It took me a while to see that, y'all, and I finally realized that now. It's like it's not going to be. It never was. It's not going to be a large body of people that are going to come together and keep the laws. I mean, let's look at some examples. Let's look at Noah. All right. How many people were saved?
8.
Noah. Yeah, exactly. His sons and their wives. 8. So when you really think about it, what does that tell you? That tells you that wave to a drop. It's going to always be a small number. Look at Abraham. Abraham had brothers.
Yeah, 125 years of warning of straight preaching. 125 years of straight teaching from the Lord of warning, and then you went on and just ignored it. That's
120 years, man. And so you look at Abraham. All right, his whole family was in idolatry, and so was Abraham at one time. But he repented. He came out of that, and the Most High called him. So you got to understand, like it's deep, y'all. When Adam decided to listen to his woman instead of the Most High, man, that caused just a ruckus of just agony on the earth. And evil, wickedness is more popular than the truth because it's comfortable, it feels good, and it's really good to do wicked in the human body. But to do righteous, that takes fighting against the flesh. All right, and a lot of folks don't want to do that. A lot of people want to be comfortable. A lot of people love their idols. They love Christmas. They love Thanksgiving. They love going out with their little bags on Halloween, and they're gonna make sure that their children do the same thing. So you got to understand that the truth and keeping up the laws has never been popular amongst our people, and it took me a while to realize that no matter how many times me and Brother Aton harp on this, it's gonna only be a few, only be a few. Hey, I want to show y'all a clip. So this clip again, this is relating to the discussion that we're doing. Coming together then versus coming together now. So apparently, there are some TikTokers that replied to this whole resegregation law, and if you look at the people who are replying to it, you'll see. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Just be ready, because there's only a certain type of people who's responding to that people, and they just have no understanding what's going on. And they were talking about hey, we don't need we love segregation. We can come together with our own people. Yeah, come together with what? So I'm gonna play the clip, and Brother Aton, man, just feel free to come in at any time.
I'm worried about the civil rights protection.
Stop it right there. All right. Can you see that on the screen up?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So the first part is just kind of explaining what's going on, and I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm glad the administration is doing this. To be honest with you, I'll be the first to say it. I'm glad, because it needs to be done, so our people can wake up with something. Hey. All right. Let me play this.
Moved a segregation ban for federal contractors.
Yeah, this is all part of the president's mission to eliminate anything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this has them worried about the civil rights protections. Our Candace Cole is in Northwest at GSA headquarters this morning with details on this. Candace, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Well, the Trump administration has effectively lifted an explicit ban preventing segregated facilities in workplaces. This comes after the president signed an executive order back in January, repealing a 1965 executive order aimed at stopping hiring discrimination. Now, according to a recent memo from the General Services Administration that was first reported on by NPR, federal contractors have been directed to remove several clauses from new contracts that fall under the federal acquisition regulation from its contracts that aren't, quote, consistent with the direction of the president. Now, one of those clauses is the prohibition of segregated facilities clause, meaning anything from workspaces, restaurants, waiting areas, and more. But contractors still must adhere to provisions covered under the Civil Rights Act and non-discrimination laws. Other clauses to be removed include those around affirmative action compliance and equal opportunity. Now, many consider the changes to be largely symbolic, but some federal agencies have already adopted the new language. A recent notice from the NIH explicitly states equal opportunity will not be considered when making award decisions. And this is just the latest development in the effort to eliminate diversity, equity, inclusion from the federal government. Now, earlier this month, federal agencies were advised to scrub any words deemed DEI from their websites. Also, earlier this month, pictures featuring Black and other minority groups have been removed from military websites as well. Reporting live in North.
So I was gonna say, now watch the response. It's stupid, y'all.
Now, hey, one man.
Go ahead.
Now remember, now y'all know how we talk on this channel, right, Israel?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just, is that fair, really? The white man who took over his area, right? He says, you know what? He's taking away the rule. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that, he's making it fair. You think they took over this area? I mean, like, where has that ever happened in history? You go take over an area and then, you don't have preference for your people. In my home, I grew up, with a saying that I had to be always, 7 times better than a white man or whatever heathen. That's how it's supposed to be. You think that you're going to just be mediocre or the same with these heathen? Man, the scriptures say that you are above all people that are on the earth.
Facts.
I mean, we have to really look at the situation that's going on. You're not supposed to be happy that you're here in the land of your oppressor. right? Sure, you can make a life, right? Sure, you can come up if you work hard, right? If you come up with innovative ideas, and keep the law, statutes, and commandments with the Lord using the spirit of innovation on you. Of course, right? These things are all possible, but you have to really look at the situation that we're in. You don't have a military. You don't have your own language. Every tradition, every holiday, these things have been given to you by these heathen.
Mm-hmm. And
even your freedom.
Yeah, not on that. You, instead of keeping the laws of the Most High, you keeping their laws. You keeping all their rituals.
God. So, like, who cares if they say that they took that stuff away? So that shouldn't affect a brother that's keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, because he's going to have the strength to be better than every man, because he's going to know who he is.
Facts.
Right? You're people looking at this stuff, right? Panic. Oh my God. Let's go. Oh, I got to actually work now. Oh, I got to use my brain to be and use my potential that the Lord God gave me. Come on, Israel, you got to wake the hell up.
Yeah. And you know who's going to stick out the most? Those who are keeping the Most High's laws, commandments, and statutes. I'm telling you, they're going to benefit from it the most. Why? Because, like brother saying, look, we're going to be better. We already know. This is why I said in the beginning, I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad to see this happening. And you got to understand too that this right here is a cut for anybody who tries to say that America is our homeland. All right. I don't know how they come up with that theory. All right. Now we in this man's captivity. He done built all these roads and everything that you can drive up and down. And guess what? He got a right to change the rules. He can set the rules to whatever he wants.
Yeah. You shouldn't just get hired just because you black.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, look, if they want to get rid of a lot of black folks, they can. But you know what? The Most High will allow them to. But they'll get rid of all the niggas, the ones that the Most High don't want. Those are the ones those are the ones He allowed to go. I'm telling y'all. And then when you look at the responses, these so-called, I hate to say it, niggas, they fall in the same category, y'all. And Most High's gonna let them be destroyed.
And then you gotta look at this, right? How is this a bad thing, anyways? Right?
Exactly.
You should want to be better. As a people, you should want to be better. Increasing in knowledge, increasing in intelligence, increasing in professionalism, right? This can do nothing but make you better, right? Make you wise enough to even come to the truth.
And see, and this goes to the point, and see, these people who are making these, who are responding, these are single women and emasculated men, which is sickening. This is why I wanted to show you this, because you'll see what type of generation that we're dealing with. All right. When you raise up a generation, you don't have the 2-parent home, and it's just everything is chaos. When you outside the laws of the Most High, it's chaos. Right? The only thing that brings peace and serenity is the keeping of the Most High's laws, commandments, and statutes. That's it. Anything outside of that is just play on words. It's folly. All right. This is why we've had leaders rise and fall, because one, they might have had the strong attributes. They had strong men leadership. But one thing they did not have was the truth.
Right.
Right. They didn't have the laws of the Most High. So therefore, they couldn't do it. So let me play the rest of this.
Wait. Before you do, hold up. Before you do, if you have kids in the room, go ahead. There's some foul language here. Right. And I just want to let y'all know. All right. So just
disclaimer.
Be aware of that.
Let's read your pregunta. Did you see they are encouraging segregation? Now listen, escuche. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Okay, ho? Listen, I don't want to be around a motherfucker who don't want to be around me, bitch. Okay. Spaces where them spaces don't want me in them, bitch, okay? Listen, I am okay with that. I am 100% pro-segregation, bitch. What we fucked up is we try to fit in where we don't belong. You understand me? We meant to stand out.
They're trying to threaten us with segregation as if our people were better off by ourselves anyway. Whoop-de-doo. Now y'all can't steal our ideas. Please be a catalyst to take over what's rightfully ours. Because anything you can do, we can do better. Oh, and let's not forget, Black women are still the most educated demographic in the United States. But to think that all these tactics y'all doing is going to get us to get out here in March?
No. That is she just told a bold-faced lie. Now she said that women in the United States are the most educated. No, they're not. I'm gonna tell you what kind of education that they get. They go into like servitude jobs, like child protection services, nursing. Where do you see? Point me anywhere where you see women scientists. All right, women engineers, all that stuff. Even though you may have maybe one woman or something like that, but those types of jobs that you see men in, you don't see the women in. But the type of jobs that you see women in are like nursings and stuff like that, humanitarian jobs. Those are the kind of jobs. If you do the stats and you check it, you'll see that those types of jobs as the women do. So women may have more college education, but by far the men makes way more money because of just the fields that they're in that makes a lot of money. So I just wanted to bring that out because
hey, 1 second though, right? Before we go on with the video, I want y'all to really understand that what we're showing here is whether they say segregation. They just say that you're just not going to get favoritism anymore.
Exactly.
Right? You're going to have to come with your own, you're going to have to, get hired on your own merits. That's all that it said right there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're talking about segregation. We're in a, you know what I mean? Like this is where, reading comprehension 101, right, comes into play. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Right? Where did you comprehend that all of a sudden equated into segregation? That's not at all what was said.
I'm gonna tell you where it came from, y'all. It came from, y'all have a dude called Rollover Martin, and a lot of these so-called nigglites that want to buy into the whole dim thing, which I don't support neither one of them because they both sleep in the same bed. But you got people like Rollover Martin, and that's pushing that stuff. And you're right. There was nowhere in the legislation that said anything about segregation. All right, basically, it's just getting rid of DEI, which was pretty much started by white women because they wanted to be included. So I mean, we just get the bad rep for it.
Yeah, that's right.
But there was nowhere that it just goes to show you how, like when people start spreading stuff and how it gets spreaded like that. So I mean, but the point here is this: even if you believe it's segregation, you ain't gonna do nothing. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna come together with? What you gonna have a bunch of single women out there with their kids by multiple daddies out there marching? I mean, what's that gonna do? I can see it. I can see it right now. You got a bunch of single women out there with their kids by multiple daddies out there leading the helm, out there marching.
Oh my goodness, man!
Man, they could drop one of them. They could drop one of them. What you call them? Moab bombs that could destroy whole footage areas and everything. Man, they could drop a bomb on them if they wanted to. I mean, man, our people just. You got anything to say before I play the rest of this?
Nah, man, just foolishness, man. Go ahead and play it, man.
No. Baby, we're going to pull up to them establishment and they talking about a black hurt and a white throat. We're going to go take our money elsewhere. As if the effects of Target was not a warning. You don't think the economy is going to be crashing without that good black dollar? Think again. Because believe it or not, we are the race that's spending the majority. So this.
Now, she right about that. We spending the majority, but it ain't going back to us.
It's still a time for the black people to continue to be level-headed and relaxed. Just imagine them having 4 years of savings. Because at the rate it's going, this is not even going to last for 4 years. Because while they thinking they're ahead, it's putting them behind. And they looking to rage bait us for any reason to get up out in that field. And guess what? We're not going. We're not going. Sit back, yeah, sit back.
So, bitch, if you gonna go and segregate us, hurry the fuck up. Did they give us a date when the segregation shit gonna start? Because, bitch, I can go in the house and go pack my bags and get ready to leave right now. Because, bitch, we've been asking to be segregated. They actually think we give a fuck about being segregated. Y'all trying to trick us into getting these streets so y'all can go ahead and declare martial law. No, we will fucking leave. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you can tell he's emasculated, man. Like,
he might be homosexual.
He probably so, man.
Yeah, he on the way to the lake of fire.
Yeah, man. You got these type of people that's responding to that stuff, man. It's mad. There ain't nobody.
Don't give a fuck about no motherfucking segregation, bitch. We want our own neighborhoods. We want our own cars. We want our own makeup brands. We want our own clothing brands. We want it all, and we got it all.
I just think it's absolutely hilarious how people are getting on this app and panicking, specifically non-black people. They're like, oh my gosh, you're bringing segregation back. What are you guys going to do? We're going to do absolutely nothing. What we told you guys 4 to 5 months ago we were going to do. This man's whole campaign was founded on the basis of racism, and everybody thought she was sweet. And then he started putting it in y'all's face, and they're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Like, he's messing up the country. We told y'all that. We told y'all what was going to happen. And the 92% of us that voted for Kamala Harris, we're taking a break for the next 4 years. Y'all figure the shit out the best way you know how.
They think black people really give a damn about segregation. Like, for real, like we...
Child. Anyway, so...
Hello? We know the power of our black dollar. We ain't no fools. We are perfectly okay with that. I guarantee y'all business is going to shut the fuck down, though. So fuck with it if you want to. We ain't suffering. You are. Like, we always got somewhere to shop, and half of the people are not going to adhere to it anyway because of the fact that they know that their businesses are going to go down. Ain't nobody finna do no stupid shit like that.
Hey, I just want to make a comment right quick. You know, I hate when people say the black dollar. What are you talking about when you say the black dollar? That money you use got white presidents on them.
That's right, Con.
I mean, people. I never understood that. You talking about the black dollar is important, man. You go up to a white business and talking about, hey, I ain't gonna support you because I feel like you was racist. They don't care. They get the hell out of here. You know, they gonna get plenty of money. And our people, yeah, you're right. They do spend the most, but it is never to improve their own selves. You know, they always give it to the enemy. So, you know, you got green dollars in your wallet with somebody else's face, with a white man's face on it. And you talking about it's a black dollar? Man, get out of here with that mess.
I mean, wait, actually, it's amazing that our people don't understand our condition, right? Sure, right. It appears that we're free, but we're really not.
Far from it.
You know what I mean? Far from it. Right, you don't own anything really. You don't own your houses. The bank owns them. Yeah. Right. You know, you still got to pay taxes on them even if you do so-called own them.
Yep.
Right. You know what I'm saying? These people have control of every asset of your life. Right. None of it is your money. None of it it doesn't have your people's face on the money. Your people did not come up with the rules here. Right. Our people, right, the Israelites, we are in a land that is not ours, right? Sure, the living is comfortable, but it's like a gigantic prison cell, right? And just because of the size of the prison cell, it warps your reality, right? When you go to work, you know, the majority of us go to work for a heathen. It's not our own people, right? A heathen cuts the check, right? And it returns right back to the money, right, to these people, and it comes back, you know, and it goes over and over again. What do we get out of it? We don't get anything but sustaining their economy, right, sustaining their society, and you know, being good workers, right? Hey, okay, you know, being good workers, that's just part of it. Right? But you got to realize this is still slavery, right? This is still slavery. Like, you don't have a piece of the land that was promised down to you like it was in the scriptures, right, man? You know, you got married to someone, here, boom. You know, there you go, brother. You know what I'm saying? You got your, you know, 3,000 acres over here. You know what I mean? And then you go raise cattle, and then you got sons as shepherds, you know, so forth and so on, right? We don't have that today, right? You got houses, little bitty domiciles that they know where you're at. They got your address on file, right? They know where you're at. They know who stays where. It's just a gigantic system, right, that these people got you under, that is slavery. It's just hard for our people to understand that because it's so intricate, right? The system is so intricate that you can't really, you know, focus on really what's going on. But if you wanted to right now, you just can't get in your car and just, you know, drive or you know, get in an airplane and fly to wherever. You have to have licenses. They'll come check you here and they'll check you there, right? These things are not, you know, you just can't learn in the backyard with a, you know, with a prop engine, you know, and then all of a sudden learn how to fly. No, you got to go to somebody, you know, right? And you have to pay money. You have to do this, right? You're not free.
And in the so-called communities you're talking about, you know, spending your dollars in aren't really black communities, you know, because yes, I mean, you go to anywhere, you know. When I was in New Jersey, and I had a brother that stayed in Baltimore area. All right, that whole community, even though it's Israelites, but it's all Section 8 stuff. You know, you got you got you got our people over there. You got some whites. You got a little bit of whites over there. You got some Mexicans over there, and then all the stores are owned by the Indian dude, folks from India. All right. So who are you really giving your money to when you talking about? Oh, I'm gonna put it in my community. What community? Man, those folks don't even own those houses. They're on Section 8. The government own those houses. You just got a bunch of black folks that's living over there. That ain't putting into the community because that money's going right back out. And so the theory that our people have of how money works, they have no idea how the flow of economics work. Within the community. All right. Now to say that if you had, okay, let's say you had like maybe 15 Israelite families, all Israelite families. All right. Now you have one family that they're skilled in building. Another family is skilled in electrical work, plumbing, all that kind of stuff. Or y'all have a couple of stores where you use your own products, from your cattle, from your chickens, your eggs, all your produce. Now, that's a community because now you're growing your own stuff on your property, but it's being passed around within that community. All right. So you don't have to go outside to get that stuff. You might have like 3 water sources on your property. So if you're pulling water from your land, bam, that's one of the major resources. Produce and water is like the 2 biggest resources. If you got produce and water, you can build your little tent and live and be good. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have that.
That's
so
right.
Like Brother Aton was saying, that this is not our land.
And the scary thing about it is that they seen the power of us, how we had began to come together back in the days when we had the Black Wall Street and this and that. Even though we wasn't, rooted in the laws then, right? They seen the power of us when we started to come together. So as their community and their stuff has began to advance through our help, right? They've advanced their community while meanwhile they've separated our community because they know that us coming together is the answer. Right? They have literally separated our households, our homes, even at the expense of their own people. Right? I mean, like, this is a scary enemy, like the scriptures say, right? We got, we're against, powers of the darkness, right? Principalities, folks in high places, right? They don't want you to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments because that's going to be the end of their reign. So while we've been fighting amongst ourselves, right? The women have been leaving the home. We've been breaking wedlock, right? We've been doing pookies and ray-rays and violence in the community and all kinds of things, right? These heathens, they have been advancing their community, advancing their influence over us and wickedness, right? Embedding us further and further in their communities, right? And spreading us further and further apart, right? So coming together then versus coming together now is going to be on a whole different level.
Yeah, and I can seriously say it's damn nearly impossible for our people to come together right now as a whole. You can't because they're incapable of doing that. And when you got so much division amongst our people, everybody's just doing their own thing, and even the ones who are keeping the commandments, so called, you got people who, still do their feast days, different. It's all jacked up. Nobody knows when the feast days are, and they just all over the place with it. And this is why we had to do a lesson on that. Yeah. And so, our people are incapable of coming together just because of the division. Well, I'll put it this way: no human intervention, no flesh and blood is going to be able to bring our people together.
That's right.
All right. It's going to take something beyond flesh and blood.
The Holy Ghost.
That's right. It can't be done with flesh and blood. So this thing has to play out, and like I always say, many of our people, by the millions, are going to bleed out and die. If they really wanted to. The only thing that's stopping them right now is our holy Abba. But hey, if the heathens wanted to, they could literally wipe out just about almost probably every single black in the U.S. if they wanted to, like they did the Native Americans. But the only thing that's stopping it is the promise that the Most High has made to our forefathers. But yet we're being so wicked, and I can only imagine at times the Most High gets so frustrated. I would be crazy,
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm not gonna play the rest of this because this is pretty much just all foolishness.
All right, I'm gonna bring up a scripture then.
Yep.
All right. So we got one right here. Exodus 32. It says, Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said unto them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate through the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And all the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses. And there fell that people that day about 3,000 men. All right, so I wanted to read that because, that has not changed. Right? If we don't get it together, right, that has not changed at all, right? Because if we don't get it together, that's how the Most High feels.
Now that verse you read, if you read the whole chapter, it was talking about the rebellion that was coming up, and that's why they had to rise up and kill them.
That's
and
right.
why do you think they did that? Because you got to understand how sin works. Sin is like a magnet. Now you look at our people today, man. Our people, we're jacked up as a people, and we follow every pernicious ways possible. Everything that's wicked, we follow. All right. And the one thing that our enemies know for us to do, we're not doing it, because they know that if we start keeping the laws, coming under one banner, and I'm talking about like not being together, but I'm talking about like everywhere our people are scattered through the Holy Spirit. People started keeping the laws, commandments, and statutes. It's going to be a wrap. And again, that's why it's going to be a remnant, because only so few are willing to do that.
Rachel J. tripping.
What's that?
I noticed personally that many of the older black women are traitorous schoolnettes. I cannot trust them. Oh, Lord bless
you're right.
you.
She is right.
Gotta pray. All right. So, we got to understand as a people, right, that we got to get it together. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to read this, 2nd Ezra, right, chapter 9. This is one of my favorite scriptures. I don't know why, but it just reminds me that, I can't sit idle. You know what I mean? It says, and every one that shall be saved, and every one that shall be saved, and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, right, whereby ye have believed. Right. Now, faith is something, right, is in the belief of the absence of things not seen, right? You have to believe that the Hamashiach is coming, because we know that this history is true, right? Even though not today, we haven't seen a burning bush or a flaming, cloud or anything of that nature, right? Your faith has to be strong. It says, shall be preserved from the said perils, right? Perils is, something that's not good, right? Hardships, right? Destruction, that kind of thing, woes, right? And shall see my salvation in my land, which is Israel, and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case now which have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. My ways means the laws, statutes, and commandments. All right. It says, for such in their life have received benefits, right, and have not known me. Right. That's if you believe those brothers that say, well, I got this and I got this without keeping the commandments. You know what I mean? But I don't know the Lord. Right. I do what I want to do. Right. And yet they have loathed my law while they have yet liberty. Right. When you're yet alive, right, you're still living. And when as yet the place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. What it means, like, you have your whole life, right? Your life, that's the place of repentance. When the spirit of life is within you, the ruach of life, right? If you don't take the chance to repent and turn away from, whatever it is that you're doing that goes against the law, statutes, and commandments, the same must know it after death by pain. And therefore, be not curious. Man, imagine, right? You know how the scriptures say that, be not afraid of him that can kill the body, but be afraid of him that can kill the soul and the body. Right?
Yep.
So imagine.
And hellfire. Yep.
God, right? And therefore, be not curious on how the ungodly shall be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, because it's ours, Israel, right? And for whom the world is created. It was created for us, but because we cannot keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, it has to be destroyed and remade again, right? Then I answered, and I have said, and now do speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish than them which shall be saved. Like a wave is greater than a drop.
Yeah, that's deep, and that's one of my. It's I want to say not so favorite, but it's one of my popular verses that I go to because, I mean, it's true. And not only are you going to have strong faith, but your faith is going to have to carry you through your grave. Why? Because we don't know if we're going to see the second coming in our lifetime. There's like 5 scriptures in the Bible that talks about unto 1,000 generations. You know, what does that mean? What is that talking about? All right, we don't know when our time clock is going to end. I remember when I was a kid, and people, you always see people setting dates and stuff like that. And people still today, be trying to set dates. And you still got people who are caught up on the second Exodus dates. Still trying to set dates. I guess 2019 wasn't enough. So now they every year now it's like second Exodus. All right. Eventually it's going to happen. All right. So one of those years they might be right, but that could be 1,000 years from now. We don't know that. We do not know. And this is why it behooves us. You gotta, even though we're in this captivity in the land of our enemy, the Most High says you occupy until I come. You gotta make, even if it's just you and a couple of family members, you're gonna have to make a community only for yourselves, for those who are like-minded, who are keeping the laws, commandments, and statutes. All right. Even if it's just you by yourself, hey, that's what you got to do.
Right. No one knows the day. That's right, Brother Lawrence. Only the Almighty Himself. That ought to tell you right there that Hamashiach can't see into the future. Well, not all the way, anyways.
But that just goes to show you, like, you can tell when our people are real because that's our test. The Most High is testing our people. Who's going to stay in it for the long haul? Who's in it because they're excited just because I'm an Israelite. After that 2019 passed, man, I've seen so many people were like leaving the faith left and right because it wasn't real anyway. They was just in it, man, for the excitement. Like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing Hamashiach didn't come back because they would have got stoned. They would have probably got stoned anyway.
You better be prepared to die in this thing. Yeah,
exactly. So,
right. You got to endure until the end. The scriptures tell you that over and over again, right? Endure until the end. Look how many brothers before us have died or probably thought that Hamashiach is coming back in their day, way back into the disciples. Remember, they was asking then, hey, Hamashiach, is we going to get the kingdom sometime soon? He was like, chill, yo.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, talking about hard times, So yeah, we and I know one thing we're going to see. We're going to see the destruction of our people like we've never seen before, especially in the condition that we're in. Because now the heathens going to look at us and be like, "Oh, they destroyed, man. They ain't got no 2-parent home. All the men are emasculated. Man, they jacked up. Man, we can do anything we want to do with them and get away with it." I mean,
they've been doing it.
They've been doing it. It's getting worse though. And as far as jobs, all right. Even most of you who have good jobs are working. Well, guess who you're working for? Our enemies own those companies. They own that stuff. They can hire whoever they want to have. So you'll have to, find something where you can fit in. It's harder for our people. It's hard for our people to find decent jobs these days. Unless you can find a way to support yourself. And that's why so many of our people get into drugs because it's easy and it's a quick fix, but it's short money and it will get you killed, get you destroyed. When you got to get to the point where you selling to your own people, that's not money. That's short money. and it never ends up good, never lasts long, because when you're doing wrong by your own people, that'll get you dead quicker than anything. So I see the writing on the wall. It's gonna get bad, y'all. Like I don't even think we understand the gravity of what's really going on. Maybe it's because of a lot of our people are living in their own individual bubbles. They're watching too much social media. They think that things are going to just happen magically for them. Our people are still waiting on something, and that's the problem. We just always sitting and waiting. When the Most High says you better learn those skills, you better go out and learn your trade or learn something, and learn how to survive and grow your own food or whatever, because while you sitting around waiting, everybody else is passing you up. Yep. But people won't listen. They just continue to do what they want to do, man. I'll come to the conclusion, man. I can't worry about no more, man, if our people don't want to listen. So I'm gonna blow the trumpet and lead the rest onto the Ruach, because Most High knows his people. He knows the ones who are going to hear the truth and obey. Those who are just willingly ignorant, I guess they're just waiting for the sword to come down on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, unfortunately.
This is one of my new favorite scriptures right here, right? 2 Corinthians 5:10. Right? I'm gonna just leave out with this right here. It says, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ," right?
Yep.
That everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he hath done, whether it be good or bad.
Yeah, right? Man, that's a hard pill to swallow right there, because that is so true.
Right. So that right there, right, we got to understand that every single one of us is accountable for the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Brothers, right? Sisters, all of us. It says, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord. You understand? So people says, oh, the Lord is scary. This is not some, hugs and kisses and balloons, lollipops, and teddy bears. This is not what we're dealing with, right? It says, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God, and I trust also are made manifest in your consciousness. Right? We must understand that this is not a, you don't understand what's at stake here. Right? It's like you're in a body that's, even though you didn't ask for this test, right? You was given the test and given a body on loan. Here, I'm gonna put this spirit in this body and I'm gonna give it to you on loan, right? And I'm gonna see how I'm gonna see what you do. Just like when you get a car from the dealership, when you get a car, like a rental car, and when you got to bring it back, they're gonna give it an inspection. Are you gonna pass inspection? Right? When the Most High checks you, you got to really think about that, right? This body is on loan. Everything you do with it, every word you say is recorded by the angels of the Most High. It's not like he's not going to know. So you really got to be circumspect and think about the things you do. It's a truly scary thing, right? Because a lot of us go about our lives, right? We don't even, put this into consideration. Like, you did nothing to get here. Literally nothing. This body was given to you. You have it on loan for a short period of time, and then it's going to go back into the dirt, and you're going to get judged on the things that you've done within your body. Right? So if you think that today, that, when that day comes, that, that you're not going to make it, that means you need to drastically change your life and get it together. Right? And this can only bring about congregation of the people that keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Because getting it together is going to automatically put you in the same wavelength as other brothers and sisters that do the same thing. right? And this is how we cry out as a people for the Most High to come back and rescue our people from the drastic situation that we're in.
And the biggest thing is turning away from idolatry. That is like, I can't express that enough, Yasharel, how adultery of our people keeps us blinded and keeps us from the Most High. That's the worst thing you can do. That's equivalent to hating the Creator, and that's the worst thing you can do. Because what it says, He says, "I'm a jealous God." And that right there is no joke. So you may think it's all cute, to have your kids dressed up for Easter and come to big grandma's house on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving. You may think that there's nothing really wrong with that, but it's way bigger than you can imagine. And the Most High does not like that.
That's
He
right.
really doesn't like that. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it right there. Unless you got something.
No, that's it. Hey, Israel, as always, right? We wish that the Most High bless each and every one of y'all, with the spirit to keep up and to endure these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Until death do us part, right?
That's right. All right, Yasharel, take a break. About 5-minute break. We're gonna come back and do another 4-hour lesson. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we're gonna let y'all go enjoy the Shabbat.
Let's get it in.
Aka's like, "What you doing, man?"
You know me, man. Let's roll out, man. Let's ride.
Oh yeah, bro. All right, Yasharel. Well, we're gonna bid you a hearty Shabbat Shalom.
And stay strong, Israel. Stay strong.